My name is Sarah Abbott and I'm a Master of Wine, and I look after the National Wine Agency's promotional programme of Georgian wine in the UK. I'm also very pleased to have here with me my colleague and collaborator, Madeline Waters.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And together, Madeline and I really implement and run the promotional campaign for your wines in the UK. The purpose of this presentation today is to share with you the plan for the 2021 campaign, to explain what activities and messages we will be implementing in the UK market, and also to explain to you how you can get involved and why it's so important for you to get involved. The format of this presentation is a webinar. If you have additional questions, any queries, please follow up via email after the presentation. You're very welcome also to ask any clarification about the presentation in the Q&A, but essentially we're here in the UK to help promote your wines and Georgian wines in general. I'm going to start by sharing with you a PowerPoint which sets out the promotional campaign. This PowerPoint will also be emailed to you as a PDF after the presentation in both English and in Georgian. We're going to start, first of all, this is what we achieved last year. So many thanks to all of the producers who worked so hard to develop their UK sales. We increased sales to the UK by more than 200% overall by the end of the year. Exports to the UK exceeded $1 million by value for the first time. We experienced from our side a very high degree of interest and curiosity about Georgian wine. Despite coronavirus, we carried on and we held most of our events digitally with virtual tastings, webinars, virtual trips to Georgia. So actually, last year was your best year ever in the UK. Georgia remains a kind of an adventurous choice for UK wine lovers, but we are definitely at a tipping point, especially with regard to the availability of Georgian wine in the UK. And what we saw was a great increase in the number of both new importers of Georgian wine, but also of new stockists in Georgian wine, so that the wine being imported into the UK is now being distributed, it's penetrating into the market and into the key channels of the market. We're still at an early stage, but we've made a really significant. For 2021, we are building on the 2020 campaign. And we've introduced two new initiatives with the advice and the support Tamar Metravelli and her team at the National Wine Agency. And I'd just like to thank the team at the National Wine Agency for their fantastic support. They're really a pleasure for us to work with, and they do a great job for you. So the 2021 campaign continues with the key activities that we had last year, but it also includes two new initiatives. And these two new initiatives are more complex in some ways than what we've done before. So we wanted to bring you together so we could explain them here today. So the first initiative we have, the new initiative we have, is called the Indie Alliance Fund. And this initiative is targeted at the independent wine shops who are selling your wine. And these independent wine shops number 1,000 roughly in the UK. And they are all over the country. They also have very developed digital offering. So the online e-commerce wine market in the UK is one of the most developed in the world. We sell a lot of wine online here. a lot of online wine sales are conducted by independent specialists. And the online wine market in the UK is very successful at selling expensive wine and unusual wine. And the focus behind the Indie Alliance Fund is to actually support independent wine shops who are the main introducers of Georgian wine to the UK market. And we support them through giving them promotional funds to market Georgian wine and to expand their range of Georgian wine. So this initiative, the Indie Alliance Fund, is of particular interest to producers who are already in the market, of which I know there are more and more of you. And we will send you the follow-up pack, which explains exactly how you can get involved. And for those producers who are working in the UK, what you can do is tell your importer about this campaign, about this fund, and encourage your importer to tell their retail customers about it. The next major new initiative is called Georgian Wine Connect. And this is a 24/7 online hub that is of interest both to producers who are already in the UK market, but also of great interest to producers who are not yet in the UK market. And the hub allows UK trade visitors, buyers, journalists, sommeliers, to visit the website, specify the kind of wines that they're interested in, filter and view wineries by target market and your positioning, send messages and request virtual meetings, and network with you virtually. The hub is on 24/7, and in addition to the 24/7 remote connection service, we also host a virtual event program through this hub, which means that at certain times in the year, you will be able to join live and meet prospective UK trade buyers live virtually. We are going to share with you now the hub so that you can see the format and understand more about what you need to do in order to participate. So is that all right, Madeline, if I hand over to you? I'm now going to hand over to my colleague, Madeline, who is managing the virtual online hub.
Okay, so here is the front-facing part of the Georgian Wine Connect hub. So this is what visitors will see when they arrive. And we ask everyone to register so that we can capture everybody's details. And there they can also specify what, I can show you what they're looking for. So this is my profile. Then visitors can also say what they're looking for, whether they're looking for wineries to import or they're looking for wines that are already in the UK. So we capture that information at the very beginning. The main part of point of interest for you is this producer directory. We've uploaded your information to this, but the virtual stands aren't yet published. So this is an example of how it would look. So you would have your profile, your company name, your logo, and then the visitors can click on this to see more information about this business. You can upload files and brochures if you want company information. And then the interesting part here is, so your staff, you can have up to 5 members of staff here. So you might have your winemaker, your export manager, or your managing director. So visitors then can click to meet with you, and so they can write you a message and say they want to have a meeting with you, or they're interested to find out more, or they can request a video call right within the platform. And the other exciting part of this platform is the networking functionality. So you can see here everybody who's registered to attend the platform, and you can find people by their interest. So if an importer is looking to find wineries that aren't yet represented in the UK, they can click here and see all the producers that are looking for an importer. And within the producer directory also, there's a much more sophisticated search functionality. So if an importer is looking for a producer, for example, they would select only show me wineries who are seeking an importer. Then they can look by winery size, wine style, so whether it's Fevrier only or European Stein only. If they want to find a producer that's organic certified, so all this information will be entered in your exhibitor profile, so that then visitors can search using this functionality. So you should have received an email from the system to say that you are now, you've been registered as an exhibitor. So all of these producers are now on the system. They're not yet published, which is why you didn't see them in the screen I just showed you. So this is where you would edit your profile when you get your login. So we will populate this with the information that you've provided from the questionnaires. But if you want to add staff members, for example, you can add new members of staff here, and you can add your brochures and files here. And we're available all the time to help with this, because we appreciate it's a new platform, a new software. So I'll provide my email address and you can email me any questions you have about this. Is that enough of a tour, do you think?
So the thinking behind Georgian Wine Connect is that we know that the reliability of the big trade fairs like Provine, like London Wine Fair, etc., has really been badly affected by the pandemic. But also we have seen that the adoption of virtual meetings in the UK and virtual tastings has enormously increased. And the format that we have developed for you with Georgian Wine Connect is also a format that some of the most successful wine exporting regions have adopted in the UK. And I think it's important to stress that digital adoption, both of e-commerce and of interaction in the UK, is very high. So Wines of Australia, which is the biggest seller of wine in the UK, also has a digital platform like this. Wines of Spain has a digital platform like this. Wines of Alsace. So to UK buyers, they are very familiar now with this concept. So there are two halves, obviously, to making this virtual hub work. One is the information and participation from you as producers. And we are now in the process of setting all the producers, all of you who have registered your interest with the National Wine Agency, we are setting you up with your basic profiles. So thank you to those who have filled in the survey form with your brand profile. We will use that profile to create content which we will upload onto the virtual platform. So we are giving you as big a boost as we can. So your company registration and your company profile and your website and your basic information, we are importing into the site so that you're ready to go. Additionally, you receive, as a virtual exhibitor, your own login. So you can take your base profile, which we create for you, and you can add anything you want to it, such as your company brochure, such as additional contact details. The second half of making this successful is obviously in bringing virtual visitors to the site, so buyers, journalists, sommeliers. And that's what our campaign is focused on doing. So we will, first of all, promote the site to our mailing list and our network of contacts. We have a fantastic network of UK trade buyers, and we are basically encouraging them to come to this site, working with them. And also, we are holding a series of virtual tastings and events through the year, which will encourage this live interaction. So we will bring you the contacts that you need. What is really important is that each producer really designates a representative from their company who checks this platform every day, or at least a couple of times a week, because the more responsive you are, the more engaged you are, the more you will be able to benefit from these inquiries. And what we know now is that there are over 300 Georgian wine producers registered for export. And this platform has been designed to enable you as exporters to take responsibility and control of your export efforts and to connect directly with the network that we bring you. So the platform is a really powerful platform. The most powerful thing is your engagement with it.
I also should mention, in the personal profiles you can create, it's really important that you make sure, if possible, to upload a photograph and really ensure that it looks as if you're present, with a small bio of what your role is within the company, and then the importers and the customers will know who they are speaking to. And I think that's very important in making it a more engaging experience.
Yeah. Yes, I stress this very strongly. Make sure that you log in to your exhibitor profile and that you fill in your details as much as fully as you can, because we've seen that this kind of platform can be very powerful. But just bear in mind that the more active you are, the more results you will see. Okay, so this is the first part of this project to connect you virtually to the market. So the platform that we've showed you is great for connecting your business with other businesses. There's a second part to it, which is that once a buyer is talking with you, they will want to know about your wines. So first of all, they come across your company profile. Secondly, they want to know, well, what wine product range do you have? And we have integrated into this program a new service which allows you as producers to maintain a very high quality, very professional product listing that meets the demands of UK buyers. This is an additional interface which is powered by a piece of software called the Global Wine Database. And I am going to share that with you now. Yes. Okay. Right. So the Global Wine Database is a cloud platform in which you as producers log in and you enter your winery details. And the difference between the Global Wine Database and the platform, the events platform, Georgian Wine Connect, the difference for Global Wine Database is that it allows you to list the details of your wine. And we will send you an email inviting you to join the Global Wine Database. When you accept the link and click in, this is what you will see. We set up one dummy entry so that I can show you how it works. And I stress again, the point of the Global Wine Database is to list your wines, because we have noticed that something that holds Georgian wine producers back is that there is a lack of high quality, up-to-date, specific information on each wine. And it's the kind of information that buyers and media and sommeliers want to have. So when we will send you this email next week, when you click on the link, this is what you'll see. And you essentially, the aim of the Global Wine Database is so that you can edit and add your own wines. And I just wanted to show you one that we've mocked up. So your producer information looks like this. Lots of this information you can take from the existing profile. You add your photograph. When you enter your address details, it shows the map. This is the information you enter about your winery. These are your team members. You can also enter your winemaker information. The really powerful thing about this program is actually having the wine specific information, which is kept as a log through successive vintages. So you enter the information on wines that you are proposing for the UK market. You can also use this database for your own internal records. It's there forever. And we entered just a dummy record here so that you can see the information that the database can cope with. So vintage, country, all the principal wine regions of Georgia have been put into the system so that you can, for example, select Imoretti, Remo Kartli, Racha Lechumi, etc. Also, the principal Georgian grape varieties have been put into the system, so that you have a very convenient way of putting your wine information into this database. We strongly encourage you, for wines that you're proposing for export, we encourage you to enter as many of these technical details as possible. The reason for that is that UK wine buyers require it, and that you are competing with wines from Australia, Spain, France, Italy, who provide this information. We appreciate you may not have it all, but the most important information is alcohol, residual sugar, and pH, and acidity. Those are all really, really fundamental parts of information that UK wine buyers like to see, because they like to see the underlying structure and likely stability of a wine. You can also enter in here the marketing info. You can, for example, enter your cellar door price, which gives an indication of the price positioning of your products. If you are a winery that actually encourages cellar door sales and wants to have wine tourism, this could be really useful to you, because you can enter it, if you like, in Georgian Lari. You can even put in your own wine, your own URL for purchase. What we have seen is that in many other wine producing nations where wine tourism is more developed, this kind of information really helps them with their cellar door sales. You can also enter your growing conditions, harvest, winemaking, aging. This is where you will put in the information on Qvevri, as well as food pairing. We will help you enter your information into the Global Wine Database. The first stage we are at is setting up Georgian Wine Connect, but the next stage is very much about helping you as producers elevate your record keeping and your technical and marketing wine information so that you are competing on a level playing field with wines of Australia, with wines of Alsace, etc.
So there's a question about whether the database is integrated with the Connect platform. So,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sarah. So what will happen is that there will be, in your profile, we will link to your profile within the Global Wine database. So visitors can then click and see your profile. And also with that, once you've input all the technical information, you can create and download PDF technical sheets that all look uniform, and you could upload those into the area where I showed you where that you can put brochures and files, for example. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, but yes, it does connect. And this is a solution that we have worked really hard to find, because, and the reason that we've come to this solution is that we thought about the path that the commercial discussions follow. So the first thing a buyer thinks is, what kind of producer is this? And the second thing they think is, and what products do they have? So this is a big project. You know, this is an ambitious project for a wine region that's so new in the UK. You know, the regions doing this in the UK, currently the biggest selling wine regions in our market. But we have found that there is so much curiosity about Georgian wine, and the way in which we can really empower you to make the most of that curiosity is to enable you to have these direct relationships, obviously with our promotion and support. I'm going to carry on with the rest of the presentation on the overall UK programme.
Question, is it mostly for indies or for potential importers? Well, it's for everybody. Anybody interested in either buying wine that's already in the UK or buying wine directly from Georgia.
I should say also that we have added a field in the filters for trade that asks whether they are interested also in sourcing for EU outside of the UK. Because although sadly the UK has now left the EU, logistically and practically we maintain strong links, and many UK-based wine companies, especially the large ones, have either subsidiaries or close collaborators elsewhere in Europe. And for many of our virtual events, we found that we were having visitors, trade visitors, who just wanted to join and listen, and those trade visitors were outside of the UK. They were based either in the Nordics. We had people joining from Spain, for example. We had people joining from Germany. So that you don't lose the opportunity to make a connection with potential trade partners outside of the UK. And I think that that's also a really interesting and powerful part of this platform. Is that okay? I shall move on.
Yes.
Okay.
There is another question from Velino Wines about one of the most problematic things is when the importer has information but they want samples. Is there a way of warehousing wines here in the UK?
Yes, there are several ways. So the first way is that we work with the National Wine Agency to ship a consignment of your consolidated samples at the beginning of the programme. And that consignment is on its way to us. We ship that consignment through the diplomatic post. We warehouse it with our warehousing partner, and we have those samples for use in the virtual events and trade tasting, but we also request 1 or 2 extra bottles of key lines from each producer so that we can send sample stock for them to assess. Now, the shipment from the National Wine Agency is leaving next week, isn't it, Cato? I'm pretty sure it is. So we have over 600 samples in that shipment. Now, if you've missed that shipment, there are other options. First of all, there are third-party suppliers operating in the UK that provide a consolidated stock service to Georgian wine producers. One of those is run by the British Georgian Chamber of Commerce. And we will send you the information on that. But I think it's very important to say that sending samples is a cost of developing this market. And when you come to develop the market, when you come to do your marketing plan, you should probably allocate several hundred, maybe even a couple of £1,000 on saying, we are going to invest in making sure we can get our samples into the market. We will give you all the help we can, but you know, people are going to want to try your wine. So either you send them the samples using the options available, or you decide that you're not able to make that investment in the market at the moment. But I know it's not easy, but you've seen the figures, you know, where we've increased sales by over 200%. And also it's worth just saying that the value of wines that are exported to the UK is high. We have a much higher average price of Georgian wine here than they do in China, for example. So I don't know whether, who asked the question? You know, so I don't know whether you've sent your samples with the National Wine Agency, but actually what you say about it would be nice to have a kind of warehouse where producers stock small amounts of wine for importers. There is that service. We don't run it because it becomes a bit too close to the commercial side for us, because we need to be open in a non-commercial way for everyone. But we will send you the information on that. There are 2 providers who offer that kind of service. Okay, great, you sent the samples, yeah. Thank you. I'm very excited to be showing them. Okay.
So there's another question about what is the deadline for registering on the Connect platform. It's going to be always open. We can always add more producers, but obviously the sooner you register, the better. So if you can do so by the end of the month, then that will be more beneficial to you.
I'm going to carry on sharing I'm going to share the screen with the rest of the presentation. Okay, so we've talked about the Indie Trade Alliance. We've talked about Georgian Wine Connect. Then the next part of our activity is that we will be holding a trade tasting. So this is a physical tasting held in London. It's being held on Tuesday, the 22nd of June. And we hold it in a really beautiful venue called Trivet Restaurant, which is known, this restaurant is known for its wine list, which puts wines from the origin of wine at the front of the list. So Georgian wines, Armenian wines, Turkish wines, Lebanese wines, Greek wines are the most important wines on this list. And Trivet is a restaurant which is run by a master sommelier and a Michelin-starred chef, very famous chef. So we've chosen a really high-end venue in which to show Georgian wines. And we use the samples that the National Wine Agency is sending us. And we have the room in 2 different areas. So one area of the room is manned by importers. So those are importers showing wines that are in the market right now. And we know that that part of the room is where all the sommeliers go, because they want to find Georgian wines in the market. So if you're active in the market, that's where your commercial importer will be showing your wines. We then have a second part of the room, which is a tasting for showing all the wines that are looking for importers. And that's where all the importers and trade buyers go. The tasting is supported with tasting booklet, information on how to get hold of producers, information on the wines. And what we do is that we send a report to the National Wine Agency that after the tasting that says who's come, the profile of people that have come, and we also liaise with the guests and we pass on any inquiries, any specific inquiries about the wines that they've tried. We will also be hosting a streamed masterclass at that tasting, which will be presented by me and Isabal, who is a Turkish master sommelier. So you have a master sommelier and a master of wine talking about Georgian wines. So we take care of everything. We post about it. We post on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And something that you can do in general is to follow our social accounts. Look out for the Georgian Wine UK hashtag and retweet us and share us. We did a Facebook post yesterday, which was about the virtual tasting we conducted yesterday. And I make sure that I tag every producer that we feature in the tasting. So that's a trade tasting, which is taking part in June, God willing. So far in the UK, we seem to be on a good path with the pandemic, and officially we are allowed to hold gatherings again from June. We will also continue to hold virtual tastings. These are held on Zoom. We send sample wines to guests. We record the virtual tastings and we publish the recordings. And we find that the recordings are also very popular. Global Wine Database, I have already shown you. And then we also continue with core activities. And these are activities that are important and kind of like bread and butter marketing activities. So that means we run a press office. Madeline runs the press office. Do you want to say something about the press office?
Yes, certainly. Yeah. So as part of the press office service, every month we issue a press release depending on whether it's to publicise a certain activity, for example, the tasting, or to talk about the Connect platform to drive more traffic and awareness. We also liaise with consumer journalists who want to find wines that are in the market that they can write about, and trade publications who are writing features about either wines from Georgia or wines from emerging regions, just to make sure Georgia is always kept in the media and kept top of mind. We also support the press trip to Georgia, which hopefully will take place in September. We have an extremely long list of people that are absolutely dying to come to Georgia, because we had to cancel the trip we had last year, and so they're all ready and waiting, almost with suitcases packed to come. And these trips are so effective in building relationships with people who are, you know, in the press and the trade, who then become key ambassadors for Georgia and who can spread the word, in whether it's in the media or as influencers. So that's a really important part of our activity.
Thank you. Great. We also have what we call trade liaison, and that means that I speak with senior figures, senior buyers in the wine industry, and I talk to them about Georgian wine, and I persuade them to consider Georgian wine. and to think about how it will fit into their portfolio. And I think for Georgians, I know when I go to Georgia, wine is your whole life. And the idea that someone in the UK may not know about Georgia, may not know where Georgia is, and may not know about Georgian wine, I know that idea will seem, outrageous. But Georgia is still an emerging country in the UK wine trade. It's starting to change. And I have like an ongoing ambassadorial role where I advocate for Georgian wine. We know that Georgian wine has a lot of resonance with certain parts of the market. So Georgian expats, also there's a very strong Russian community in London, and they are actually very big buyers of Georgian wine. In fact, we spoke to a retail shop owner yesterday who has a really beautiful shop in Chelsea. And she has come to us because she's got so many Russian customers going in and asking her for fine Georgian wine. And we were actually able to connect her with an importer, with several importers yesterday. So that's the kind of thing that we do when we talk about trade liaison. And so finally, the more engaged you can be with the UK market, the more we can help you. We really encourage you to share our content and also to tell us your news. So we have the Georgian Wine UK Facebook page. As producers, if you have a nice story about something that you're doing, especially something visual, if you're out in the vineyards, or if you're doing a tasting and you've got some beautiful photographs of Georgian food, we really encourage you to post it to the Georgian Wine UK Facebook page. We will quickly moderate it and then we'll publish it, because the more we can convey to the UK the richness and the vibrancy of Georgian wine, the more exciting it becomes to consumers and to the trade. And finally, I would also just like to share with you the overall timeline. So we had the first virtual tasting yesterday, webinar is today. This deadline is for UK visitors to our next virtual tasting. This questionnaire refers to the link that we sent to all the producers, asking you to basically tell us your brand story. Many of you have done that. We've had about 50 responses, which is fantastic. And you've told us some brilliant information. And I know that we will be able to present your brands individually and collectively in a really good light. Georgian Wine Connect is going to go live on the 26th of April. On the 28th of April, we will be finalising the entries for the Indie Alliance Fund, and we will be tying that in with another virtual tasting on the 28th of April. We will be making an announcement about the Indie Alliance Fund on the 30th of April. 22nd of June trade tasting, and then towards the end of the year, these are the other events that we talked about. In addition to this broad timeline, there's a more detailed schedule of virtual events and commercial virtual meetings that we will be hosting on the Georgian Wine Connect platform. We will send you more information on this. Our big focus this week is to get the platform live with your amazing information. Then we will be working on getting the wine listing information. But we have virtual events scheduled in the platform throughout the year. And my great request for you all is, please designate someone in your team to be your UK market liaison, so that person spends maybe a day a week or half a day a week, keeping in touch with us, checking whether there's been any emails from me or Madeline. If you do this, if you give us, you know, that point of contact, I promise you, your impact in the UK will explode, because there's a lot of interest, but we need that continuity of contact, and we really need you to be really engaged with these platforms. And I'm sure that then, with the interest that we have in the UK, with the great support of the National Wine Agency, and with your amazing wines, that we will actually have an even better year this year. I mean, I would love to get to the point where we didn't just sell more, you know, more than $1 million US. It would be great to, you know, let's do £2 million. I'd, you know, because the wines that we like to drink, I think, are the wines that you really like to make. And so we're really excited about it, and I hope that's useful. And, you know, please do keep an eye out for our communications, and try to use the structured communications with us. Although, of course, we're always glad to hear from you. I think that's everything. Tamar, would you like to say anything just to wrap up? I think, no, I think that's...
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry. Sorry.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Likewise.
It's the first time I met her. So I would like to thank you for this very informative presentation, and what you've told us and the wineries is very useful, and the wineries have to take advantage of all your recommendations, all your efforts, and to fulfill everything you're advising us step by step. And it is really a great interest in the UK on Georgian wine. So it's the right time that we are launching these big projects. And so I have a feeling, and I believe that it will be very successful, both projects and all your efforts on the UK market. So I'm very glad that you are working with National Wine Agency, and with your support, we will boost the export sales, and we will penetrate the UK market much more wider. Yeah. So I would like to thank you for today's presentation, and we'll encourage the wineries, others who have not been able to listen to this webinar, to fill in the questionnaires as soon as possible. So, and to start working and to get a mutual success. We're doing a job. It's a national activity, you know. It's a Georgian wine is a key thing for every Georgian. So we are all very eager to promote our wines on international markets and globally. So you are supporting us for this. Thank you very much.